I'm excited. I'm stressed. I'm excited. So, we are changing things up just a little. If you're new here, my name is Gal. I'm a curly hairstylist. I work in a salon in Ottawa, Canada called Curlology. And every Wednesday I go through my hair routine because I only do my hair once a week, hence me being excited and stressed because my hair routine is like my guiding light. Because I do my hair once a week, there's a lot riding on it because I don't want to do my hair again for another week. Now, this past week, I redid my hair on day 6, not because I had to, but because I wanted to make content. I wanted to try air drying my hair, and I just did it on day 6. Because there's a lot riding on when I do my hair on Wednesdays. I work in the salon for the next 3 days. So I didn't want to do an air dryer routine on a Wednesday in case it didn't work out. It did work out. It actually turned out really cute. But anyways, I had done it yesterday. So today, that was on dirty hair. So I still rewashed for today. Today I'm redoing my hair, but because I just kind of styled my hair yesterday, we're gonna switch it up. I want to do something kind of faster than usual because I just did my hair yesterday, and usually I only do my hair once a week. So now I'm like, And the other reason I want to change things up is I was talking to my boss, Marilyn, about the order that I do my products in. I'll show you my products. Ooh, she's getting empty. Stressful. I need to buy more of this. My balayage blowout cream by Mela and Kara. Yeah, it's a blowout cream. It's for straight hair. I use it as a curl cream. It's moisture. That's basically what most curl creams are. The only thing is it doesn't enhance curl. Some curl creams do. Some curl creams elongate curl. This one does neither, but it has built-in heat protectant. It's very lightweight. That's why I choose to use it. So this is what I use as my curl cream, the Mela and Kara blowout cream. Then I usually put in the Vital Curl Mousse, and then I put in the I Create Definition for extra hold by InnerSense. And Marilyn, suggested that I switch these. I'm gonna try that. It's stressing me out. So we're gonna do that today. We're gonna switch the order of those two products. That's one thing we're gonna switch up today. And the other thing, because I just did my hair yesterday, is we're just gonna try and go really fast. I don't know exactly what that's gonna look like. I don't think I'm gonna rake and shake the bottom of my head. I think that's one of the things I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna try and not be precious about the whole thing. And I'm gonna see how much of this is just my products, and how much of it is how like nitpicky I am when I do my styling that gets me so much longevity out of my hair these days. So we're gonna find out. Okay. Something else I did, if you don't get to style your hair immediately after you get out of the shower, my hair dries really, really quickly because I got a tiny little bit of heat damage these days. Because normally my hair is like a medium, very medium porosity, but now I'm tilting towards higher porosity, meaning it dries faster these days. So one of the things I did to really help it stay more wet is, because I had to like get the camera ready and stuff after I got out of the shower, is I left the conditioner in my hair when I got out of the shower, got everything ready, and then I just popped my head back under the faucet just to rinse out the conditioner right before I started filming. That conditioner is gonna hold all that moisture in my hair really, really well. So that was a little trick if you aren't gonna get to style your hair and your hair dries really, really quickly. If you're not going to get to style your hair right away and you want it to really hold that moisture in your hair really well, and you struggle for it to get that seaweed wetness again if you're not immediately rinsing out, you know how wet it is and seaweed wet it is when you first rinse out the conditioner? Am I making sense? Anyways, welcome. So again, already my hair is not as wet as I want it to be anymore, so you know the drill. We want her wet, wet, wet. I don't have any product in. I just literally dumped it under the faucet. So I like to start with it absolutely saturated. And I actually recommend you bring your styling products with you into the shower, okay? As soon as you rinse out that conditioner, it's gonna make your life so much easier. It's gonna make your routine so much faster. As soon as you rinse out that conditioner, take your first styling product. For most people, it's gonna be a curl cream or a gelée. I like to use a decent amount of a curl cream because my hair tends to skew a little bit dry. And I know I have a dry patch right at the back of my head. Remember, you can have different parts of your hair that are different textures. You might need to treat them differently. That's okay. You want to be the expert in your own head of hair. So I'm going in, I'm evenly distributing that curl cream all over, and then I'm going to go in and start applying my eye create definition next by InnerSense. So my first curl cream is going to add moisture and it's going to add heat protectant because, well, it's not a curl cream, it's a blow up cream by Mela and Kira. The next product is a foam by InnerSense. It's called Eye Create Definition. Now, if you've heard of Curl Memory by InnerSense, very interesting product. I'm very excited to try it. It's meant for coarse, curly, coily hair, curly or coily hair. It's meant to elongate your curl pattern, not to make it curlier. It's flexible stronghold. However, I have heard a lot of people using it off-label, and that if you, instead of stretching out the curl pattern, scrunch with it and use it on silky hair instead of more coarse hair, that it actually can make your hair curlier. So I've heard that it can be used kind of off-label, and that it's not super, super heavy. So I'm really curious to experiment with it. Anyways, that's a little off topic. I also haven't heard InnerSense say anything, like make any comments about how people are using it in that way. So I'm really curious to see if they end up commenting on that. Okay, so I like when I'm applying my Eye Create definition foam. Now, usually foams, if you've ever worked with a foam in the past, usually foams are very light hold. They're usually used for volume. What's the difference between a mousse and a foam? A mousse is going to be a whipped cream consistency. Usually it's an aerosol container of some sort. Foam is going to be a pump top. It's bubbles. Mousse can be used for a lot of different things. Typically, foam is typically used for volume, although again, it can be used for a lot of different things. This one is actually a very unique foam. It is an extra strong hold. It is awesome. Eye Create Definition, it gives you a lot of definition, a lot of hold. It's used in the place of a gel usually, and that's how I use it. It's very lightweight hold. It's very buildable. If you have very fine, low density hair, you might only need one pump on your hair layered on top of your other products. It's great for layering. I would venture to say most people are not going to use Eye Create Definition as their only product. In fact, it's not really meant to be a one and done product. You're not going to use just Eye Create Definition. Maybe there's someone out there who's going to do that, but that would be exceedingly rare. It's really meant to be layered. I layer it with 2 other products. Some people are going to layer it with a gel to add some extra hold to their gel because they're not getting enough hold with their gel. Some people are going to layer it over a mousse to get some extra hold on their mousse. Some people are just going to put it on top of a curl cream because they just like some moisture with hold. Some people can't handle a curl cream. Curl creams are too heavy for their hair, so they layer it over something like a gelée. So it's all going to depend on your hair, but it's a very versatile product because it's so lightweight, and it can be really layered over anything. It's not for everybody. No product is, but very, very versatile. Okay, so to be fair, it is much faster to apply to your hair when you apply this before your mousse. Okay, so I applied it to my bottom section, clip that away so that I know where I've already applied it. Just making sure my top section is nice and wet before I go in with the eye create definition foam. I think I'm applying too much foam today. But it's because I'm trying to just like rake it through quickly today. So we're gonna see how this turns out. I have never added this much of this foam. I think this is gonna be too much foam. Okay, so because I've added so much of this foam, I'm not going to worry too much about adding water. Usually I'm very cautious adding water after adding eye create definition foam because I don't want to water it down. But I just added 12 pumps of this foam. Usually I add about 9 to my hair. So I'm really not going to worry too much. Okay, so now I'm just going to make sure it's raked all the way through. And again, that's a lot of this product. Almost nobody is gonna add that much of this product, but I only do my hair once a week. I really like to get longevity out of it. I would say if it's your first time using eye create definition, start with 2 pumps. If you can't break the cast, then go down to 1 pump. If you don't get a cast, then you can go up to 3 or 4 pumps, okay? But anyone who complains, oh, I don't like eye create definition, I couldn't break the cast, you're using too much of the product. Some people don't need very much of this product. Okay. The other thing with this product, if you use it and you're like, oh, it straightened my hair. I went to brush out my hair with it or whatever when I was doing the rake and shake method or using a demo brush and it made my hair straight. If that happens to you, your hair's not wet enough when you're working with the product. Because it's so strong hold, you need your hair to be very, very wet when you're working with the product. Because it starts to cast very quickly. Okay, so we're gonna be very generous with our mousse today. Okay, all over, and I've got this one very coarse patch that likes to get stringy. So I'm going to make sure I've got enough mousse there to help it clump. And all through there. Well, that was certainly faster applying products today. Okay. And now I'm just going to wet everything down with my infinity mister to make sure it's soaking wet. One sec. I'm standing in a puddle of water. So, just to remind everyone, in case you just joined a few minutes ago, up until now, I would recommend doing all of this in the shower. Because your hair should be super, super wet doing this part. And to avoid making a mess in your bathroom, although, to be honest, this isn't that bad. I just stand on a towel. So you can see, I like to re-wet my hair after I've applied my products. And by doing that, the hair naturally clumps together very frizz-free. So by doing that, if I wanted to have a very low maintenance hair routine, I could just scrunch, microplot from here, and then air dry. I'm not gonna be that low maintenance because I find if I do that, I don't get as many days out of my hair. But that would be the lowest maintenance version that I could do. So, what I like to do instead is I take a brush. And I don't know if you can tell, but I have a little bit of wet frizz, especially underneath. It's not really coming across in the camera. A little, do you see how there's these little hairs that are kind of on their own? I want them to be a part of curl clumps because that is gonna turn into frizz. So I'll show you here. Do you see these little hairs that are not part of curl clumps? That's gonna become wet frizz. Or sorry, dry frizz. So, any hair that is not part of a larger curl clump is going to become frizz. So now that my hair is soaking wet, I'm just gonna brush my hair. I'm just using a nice big detangling comb, and I'm brushing my hair how it's gonna naturally fall. So here at the very back, I'm not brushing it all forward because then it's just gonna get hitched when I come back up. The nape of my neck, I'm gonna brush kind of down, like that, like that, like that. Okay. Okay, and I'm gonna take a few sections here, and I'm actually gonna brush them up so they're not flat against my scalp. Okay. Okay, now I want to see how things are lying now. Okay, so I'm a little bit happier with that now, I would say, but I don't know. I'm always really picky. Oops. I'm pretty picky with how I want my hair to lie, again, because I want to get so many days out of it. But anyways, that would be if I just wanted to like leave it there. You could absolutely go from there and then take a cloth, micro plop, and I think that would give you a really, really good foundation. That would be how I would do like the fastest hair routine. For anybody who's like been watching my lives for a little while, looking at the Rake and Shake and they're like, I don't have time, that would be how I would do it. Okay. And you can see how kind of you've got nice juicy clumps for the most part. And let's see if it's sticking against my scalp at the back. Nope. I don't know if you can tell, I always have this like one thing. So if I wanted to, I could take this section, separate it here, and take my diamond brush and just brush it and lift it, kind of brush it up away from my scalp so my scalp's not showing there. But what I'm gonna do instead, what is this? What is a microplop? That's a great question. It's when you literally, it's a fancy word for saying just scrunching your hair with a t-shirt. Very gently, scrunching your hair with a t-shirt. Just a fancy word. Okay, so I can't do it, guys. I can't not rake and shake my hair. I feel like there's too many little hairs sticking out. I know I'm gonna get so much more longevity if I do this, so I'm just gonna do it. It's interesting. I have trained my brain so much that to me, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be so much more work if I don't rake and shake my hair. Isn't that interesting? And I think that's always people's comment is they're like, rake and shake is so much more work. And I think it depends. If you're at the beginning of learning to take care of your hair and you haven't quite found the right products yet, and you're still learning all the techniques, rake and shake can be more work. I won't deny that. But once you start to nail everything, on some hair types, not all, but on some hair types, the rake and shake method can get you really far. I'm not going to say that's true for everyone because it's not. There's some people that the rake and shake method doesn't make a huge difference for because their hair just clumps so beautifully that they can just scrunch their hair. This is especially true of people with very silky hair that is not particularly prone to frizz. It's not true of all people with that hair texture. But some people's hair just clumps really, really beautifully on its own. It just doesn't necessarily need the help of the rake and shake method. I've been trying to switch the way I do the rake and shake method so that I'm rake and shaking up to get a little bit more lift. Marilyn pointed out to me the other day that I come from on top instead of underneath. But I just find it very awkward doing it on myself. I find it a lot easier to come from on top when I'm doing it on myself. I don't know. Do you guys do it from on top or from underneath when you're doing it on yourself? I don't know if I have anybody in these lives who does the rake and shake method on themselves right now. Okay, so a couple of interesting things that I'm observing on my hair right now. I don't know if it's because I kept conditioner in my hair right up until it was time to do the live, or if it's because I did the mousse second, but my hair is definitely holding on to moisture better. And I wonder if it's because I did the mousse second. Like, I wonder if my hair was drying out a lot faster when I did I Create Definition after the mousse. That's so interesting. You've tried numerous times and have not been successful so far. You know what's so interesting? I've had so many people come into my chair for their curl transformation, their first time appointment. And when you come in for your first time curly cut at Curlology, part of that appointment is that we teach you how to do the rake and shake method. Or we teach you how to style your hair. Like, if your hair is very, very curly, there's no shake in the rake and shake. But we teach you how to style your hair. And I've had so many people say they've tried the rake and shake method, it doesn't work for their hair. And then when we do it, we can, like, it definitely works for their hair, and they often have these like huge aha moments. I would say the most common aha moment is that they weren't using anywhere near enough water. That is the most common aha moment. And they thought that their hair was soaking wet. Is the brush and twist that you were doing the rake and shake? Yeah, so I am doing a rake and shake method on my hair right now. By the way, I have a ton of rake and shake method content coming. It's all filmed. I know I've been talking so much about the rake and shake method on my lives, and I really haven't been posting a lot of helpful tutorials about it. So I have a ton, it's all filmed, I just need to edit it. So, like, common mistakes with the rake and shake method, a couple of tutorials. So that is coming. I'll try and post it to YouTube. I know YouTube, you guys don't get as much content. By the way, if you are live on YouTube right now, I post a ton more content on, I'm also live on TikTok and Instagram right now. I post way more content on Instagram and TikTok. I'm trying to get better at posting shorts, at least on YouTube, and maybe eventually more long format on YouTube, but at a minimum I try to go live on YouTube every week, but I am trying to get better at least posting my shorts to YouTube as well. I have no excuse. But yeah, the most common mistake that I see people making, although it's not the only mistake, there are sometimes it's different mistakes that I see people making, but definitely the most common mistake that I see people making is not using enough water with the rake and shake method, or taking sections that are just way too big. And usually that's in an effort to go faster, which I can appreciate the sentiment, but usually what ends up happening is it's just so stringy. Yeah, so let me slow down and I'll show you what I'm doing. So, okay, so I brushed, the section needs to be soaking wet. You take a whole section, a vertical section of hair, roughly the width of your knuckles and maybe half an inch tall. Okay, I brush through to smooth any wet frizz. Sorry, YouTube can't see me. To smooth any wet frizz. Then I'm gonna take my other hand and I'm gonna break it into individual curl clumps. So you can see I've created about 4 curl clumps there. I'm gonna take my other hand and I hold it vertically to stop it from getting stringy vertically. If you don't know what I mean by stringy, stringy is like when it breaks up into like all these individual tiny little curls that are gonna turn into frizz, okay? Instead, we want these juicy, like 1, 2, 3, 4 juicy curl clumps instead of like 20 tiny curls. Does that make sense? That's what I mean by stringiness. So I'm gonna use this hand to hold it vertically, then I'm gonna pull my hand about halfway, about that far, okay? If I pull it all the way to the very end here and try to shake it, chances are it's gonna get stringy, okay? So I'm gonna pull it to there, then I'm gonna let go with this hand, okay? And I'm just gonna do a skipping rope motion. Gentle, do you see how gentle I was there? Tiny little in the wrist skipping rope motion. Now, if I just pull it again, because I need to pull it all the way to the end here, I'm gonna pull that straight. So now I have to pinch it here, okay? Pull it to the end, and just do another little skipping rope motion, okay? And now I'm done that section. All I'm doing is reactivating the curl pattern. It doesn't need to be a perfect spiral or anything like that, because remember, we are going to scrunch it later on. But I personally, everyone's hair is different. I don't like to scrunch it after each section because every time you touch wet hair, it gets a little bit frizzier, okay? So if you're gonna scrunch each section after you do it, and then on top of that, you're gonna scrunch it at the end, you're just adding a lot of touch points. And my hair is very prone to frizz. Yes, I've already added my product because you kind of need to rake product through your hair. So if you do all this work and then try to add your product in afterwards, you're gonna mess up all the work you just did. So my hair is starting to get not wet enough, so I'm adding water as I go. Okay. So the products that I have in my hair, if you're just joining, guys, I have the Mela and Kira Balayage Exceptional Blowout Cream. I have the Inner Sense I Create Definition Foam in my hair. I have a ton of that product in my hair, 12 pumps, which is like unheard of, okay? Like almost nobody is gonna use that amount of product. Marilyn, my boss, makes fun of me. I'm a hairstylist, I work in a curly hair salon. But my hair can just tolerate a lot of hold, and I only style my hair once a week, so I'm just like, I want the hold. The exception to that might be people who have very long, like kind of medium fine hair, but they have a lot of it and it's just very heavy and like no product is strong enough hold for them, you know? So if their hair can tolerate product, those people can sometimes handle a lot of I Create Definition. And it can be a nice product then. That's one of my clients actually came in and we had used I Create Definition on her hair. And she came in and she's like, I think we had used 4 pumps on her when she was in the salon. And she's like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I use 9 pumps at home. And I was like, what? You have fine hair? And she's like, I know, but I have so much of it and my hair is so long. And I'm like, well, and she's like, this is my day, I think it was her day 5 hair. And she has a very loose curl pattern, very, very loose, what I usually describe as wavy. And I literally could take a wide tooth comb and brush through her hair on her day 5 hair And then I took a little bit of like a smoothing balm, and it looked like she had used a flat iron to curl her hair. It was so beautiful. And I was like, oh my God, this product loves you. I understand why you want to use so much of it, because it gives you such a strong hold without looking like heavy or greasy in her hair. But it is going to give you a strong cast, so you do have to break that cast. And also, if you're going to use that much product, you have to accept that day one, you're probably not going to get a ton of volume, even though it is a very lightweight product. Like, you guys will see, my day one, I'm not going to have a ton of volume. But it is a lightweight product, so every day I'm going to get more and more volume. Let's see. Everything's a trade-off, right? So I have like a little crown right there. It's so annoying. Is it a middle part? Is it a side part? It's kind of neither. But I have learned that it's easier to not fight it. It's my dog bowl. 1 second, I think it's actually right there. It's a little bit more of a side part. What am I using? What brush am I using? This is the Bounce Curl Volume Comb. Okay. Okay. And we're almost done. I don't know, if you've ever been in my lives before, was that any faster than usual? I definitely applied products faster than usual. I think that's the only thing I did faster than usual. Everything else I think was exactly the same. I tried, guys. I think I've been doing my same hair routine for so friggin' long. And it just works. It's really hard to break out of my usual routine. I think if I wasn't going to the salon, it's easier. When I go on, when I have a vacation next, I have to do a live when I'm not going into the salon, because then there's so much less pressure on getting a few days out of my hair. So I can just do like a scrunch and air dry, or a scrunch and diffuse or something, and if it doesn't work out, I'm not gonna have to restyle it the next day. I can just put it up in a bun or something. So this is optional. You can do rake and shake all the way to the front if you prefer, or you can finger curl around your face if you want, or you can just, as we talked about at the beginning of this live, by the way, I post recordings of my lives onto YouTube and Instagram. You could just scrunch all of your hair. I don't have a lot of experience with the Curlsmith brand. I've tried one of their gels. I didn't love it. I tried one of their like curl creams, and it was okay. But that's not like, and I have tried some of their shampoos and conditioners. Like they were all like medium. It's not my favorite line, but it's not my least favorite line either. Like, I don't think you're gonna do damage to your hair by using them. I think they're like a medium. Does that make sense? And I know lots of people love Curlsmith, so. I also haven't tried all of their products, so it could be that I would try one of their products and be like, I'm obsessed with this. And maybe I just haven't tried that product yet. Like, I've heard really good things about some of their foams, and I haven't tried any of their foams. So my halo, like my crown area here, gets very frizzy, very frizzy. So do you see how much water I've been adding to that halo section? How can I tell if my problem is too much product or the product itself? That's a really good question. When your hair is wet, if you're able to go like that and there's like excessive product, like a lot of milkiness and product coming out in your hand, you probably have too much product in your hair when it's still wet. The other thing is by day 2 or day 3, if your hair is looking heavy or greasy, your hair, you're using way too much product, or more likely your product is too heavy for your hair. The other thing I would say is if your hair is starting to get soft, overly soft, less curly than it used to be, even soft or gummy while wet, that would be the extreme. Your products are too heavy for your hair. Absolutely, you should be very careful. That is very, very common, actually. If you have anything except coarse hair, you probably don't need a heavy curl cream. Like if you have medium or fine hair, you probably need a very lightweight curl cream. So you might even benefit from using something like a blowout cream or a curl cream, an air dry cream, something like that. If you don't know how to find a lightweight curl cream. But if something is a lightweight curl cream, like it's gonna be more like a lotion when you feel it. Like it's not gonna be a butter. My hair with Intersense foam was super snarly. Snarly? What do you mean by snarly? Like you were getting lots of foam. So using just foam on its own, you can use like your hair might need like a cream underneath. Like if your hair is dry, you might benefit from you don't need to use just one product. A lot of people need to cocktail products. So you might benefit from using like I Create Volume and then their foam, or the Serenity Smoothing Cream and then their foam, or the Serenity Smoothing Cream and then the I Create Volume and just a tiny bit of their foam. Like most people aren't going to be able to just use their foam, because you would need to use so much of the foam that your hair is going to start getting gritty. That foam, very few people would just use their foam. Okay, I hope that's helpful. I feel weird. And again, if you're new, if you're late to the live, I feel weird because I did my products in a different order. Okay, so I'm micro plopping. Okay, you couldn't get your products through your hair. So I have a couple of questions for you about that, Barbie. Yeah, one of them is you might need to cocktail products. My second question for you is, do you know what a curl cast is, or a gel cast? When I say that, is that a familiar term to you? For everybody on my other lives, just so you know, I'm talking to somebody, I think on TikTok right now. Barbie, when I say cast, do you know what that term means? Okay, so you know a cast. So when you say you couldn't get your hands through your hair, was it from the cast? Or was it from the texture that was created from the foam? And then my next question would be, when you feel your hair, is it already very silky? Like, do you have very, very silky hair? Or like, for example, if you're blonde, your hair maybe once was very silky, but now it might have a little bit more texture to it. Okay, so even after you broke the cast, your hair was still had a lot of texture when you added the foam. So if your hair is naturally extremely silky, then using tons and tons of foam in it might be nice, because if your hair is too silky, curl can sometimes just fall out of it. But if your hair already has a little bit of texture to it, if you just use a foam like I Create Lift, which that foam has hold, okay? It's a grippy product. If you just use that product in your hair and you don't use any other products, it's gonna add a lot of texture to your hair. So that's probably what was happening to you. So I would say it's not that that product shouldn't be used in your hair. It's just that you probably need to use less of it and you need to cocktail it with other products. I'm guessing you reached for it because my guess would be your hair is weighed down easily. And you likely wanted something that has a little bit of hold, and I could be wrong, but this is typically who wants a product like that. But it sounds like you need something that's less grippy. So I would go in with something like the Serenity Smoothing Cream if you want to stick with Inner Sense first, or even something lighter like the Sweet Spirit Leave-In Conditioner, something that's going to give you some moisture first. If you still want hold, but you want less of that grippiness, you could even go in with I Create Volume before you go in with the foam. We're just talking Inner Sense products here, guys. Because the I Create Volume will give you less of the grippiness that that foam has, but still give you hold. Okay. I'm really just scrunching my life away. You don't need to scrunch that much. I shouldn't have been scrunching that much. I probably just created frizz, but I was multitasking. Okay. Are these products linked anywhere? No, I don't work with Inner Sense. I wish I did, no. And I don't usually recommend products in my lives, but I do love Inner Sense. Somebody else had a question back here that I missed. Have you ever used the Luss leave-in? They don't have a leave-in, but they have unless it's a new product, but they have an all-in-one, which is different than a leave-in conditioner. I have wavy like you, but my kids are mixed and their curls are different. I have two types and they're curl cream for our different textures, but we love their stuff. And then gel. Yes, I have. I actually worked with Luss brands for a very long time, so I have a lot of experience with their all-in-one products. Always my tip is make sure you emulsify their all-in-one product in your hands first. It is a condensed product. A lot of people don't realize that, so it's super, super important that you emulsify it in your hands first before you apply it to hair. But yeah, it's a very moisturizing product. They have three. They have the wavy, the curly, and the kinky coily. The kinky coily one in particular, I've worked on with different hair types, and it's really, really nice, very, very moisturizing. Make sure you're clarifying if you're using the Luss brands products. So you want to make sure you have a clarifying shampoo, as well as if you happen to be using the Luss brand shampoos. So I would say clarify once a month or once every 5 or 6 weeks, something like that. I recommend the Malibu Sea Undo Goo clarifying shampoo. It's the Luss brands products have no added protein, so they're better for someone who doesn't need protein in their hair, or doesn't need added protein in their hair, or whose hair gets protein buildup very easily. And their products tend to skew towards a little bit like a medium or like heavier side. So hair that needs like a little bit more weight to it, or products that need a little bit more weight to it. Have you ever tried using the Bounce Curl Define Brush? Yes, we have one in the salon. Okay, I need to start drying my hair. And the Bounce Curl Define Brush I think is awesome. I didn't love it on my own hair, However, so I brought it to the salon because of that, because I was like, man, people are loving this brush. Why do I not like it? And it's just my hair. I just don't like it on my hair, but I've used it on a lot of other heads of hair. Oops. And a lot of people's heads of hair, I love it. Just don't like it on my hair. Okay, when you're diffusing your hair, there are two main diffusing techniques. The first diffusing technique is hovering. It creates the least amount of frizz. It does nothing to encourage your curl. So if you want more elongated curl pattern, or if you just want to control your frizz, this is what we're going to start with. In fact, I would say for almost everybody, you're going to start with hover diffusing unless your hair dries in like 10 minutes. Okay? So you start with hover diffusing. Thanks guys for sharing my live. That helps me so much. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to start with hover diffusing. I like to hover diffuse. I'm not going to hover diffuse very long, but especially if you're prone to frizz, you can even hover diffuse as long as you want, really. You might hover diffuse. So if your first time hover diffusing, I would say hover diffuse until you start to feel a cast. If you want to have a defined part, then I would say hover diffuse upright first, just standing up like this. And if you have fringe, then you're gonna want to hover diffuse your fringe or your bangs upright in the position that you want them in before you start flipping your hair around so that they lie nicely, okay? Otherwise you're gonna have bangs that are all over the place. Now, I like to have, I'm gonna hover diffuse the back here. Let's see, actually, if I like how the back is lying. I do like how the back is lying today. Okay, this is an experiment. I'm gonna hover diffuse the back a little bit longer today before I start flipping it all around. See if that helps me get better results with the back. If you're not new here, you know the back of my head often turns out weird. If you air dry your hair and your hair turns out frizzy, what's your tip on hover diffusing 30 minutes but still didn't dry my hair? I don't know if I know what you're asking. You were hover diffusing for 30 minutes and your hair still wasn't dry? Is that what you're saying? If that's what you're saying, my first thing I would say is, what temperature were you diffusing on? If you're diffusing your hair with cold air, which a lot of people do that, then I would say if you're using a good quality diffuser, it's the heat, really, that's blow drying your hair. So I typically don't recommend you diffuse on cold air. I recommend you use the lowest heat setting. That's my first tip. My second tip is, what kind of blow dryer are you using? When I used to use a very inexpensive blow dryer, it would take about an hour to diffuse my hair. So taking 30 minutes and still not having your hair dry with a low quality diffuser is not outside the realm of possibility if your hair takes a long time to dry. The other thing is, even if you have a high quality diffuser, if your hair takes a long time to dry, like if it takes 8 hours to air dry, for example, and you're using heavy gels in your hair, heavy curl creams, especially if that's what your hair requires, maybe you have very coarse hair, it might take a long time to diffuse. The best thing you can do is invest in a good quality diffuser, or even just invest in a hood dryer, and that way you can multitask. The next the next diffusing technique is called pixie diffusing. So I literally flip my hair upside down, lower my hair into the mouth of the diffuser. I'm going to switch it to heat cycling mode where it automatically cycles between high and low heat, or you can just leave it on the lowest heat setting. And I basically cut my hair and I hold position for anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds depending on the head of hair. If your hair takes 30 to 40 minutes to diffuse, then you might hold positions for like 20, 25 seconds. If your hair is diffused dry in like 10, 15 minutes, you're not going to hold positions for quite as long. The key here is you want to have one section of hair, like the section that's in the diffuser, maybe get 60 to 70% dry before you move to the next position. Hair that's wet is extremely fragile. So every time that you move the diffuser, you're creating a little bit more frizz. So be mindful of that. If your hair is very prone to getting frizzy, you want to move the diffuser less, right? So pixie diffusing, why would you pixie diffuse if it has the potential to create frizz? Well, it encourages curl. It encourages volume. If those are some of your goals, then you're probably going to want to pixie diffuse at least a little bit. You get to decide how much cover diffusing is right for your hair and how much pixie diffusing is right for your hair. The recipe for that is up to you, and you can change it as you get to know your hair better. So if the first time you hover diffuse until you start to feel stiffness on your hair, until you start to feel a little bit of a cast from your product, and then you switch to pixie diffusing and you're like, my hair turned out frizzy. Well, next time, hover diffuse a little bit longer until your hair feels dry to the touch, but maybe the center of those curls is still a little wet, and just pixie diffuse the last 5 minutes. Or if the first time you diffuse, you're like, I did not get enough curl. I want more volume, I want more curl. Well then maybe just hover diffuse for 5 minutes. Don't wait until you feel a cast. And then pixie diffuse longer next time. It is up to you. It is totally up to you. There is no right or wrong answer. This is an art. Your tolerance for frizz is completely up to you, and it's different from one person to the next. Now, you'll notice that as my hair gets more and more dry, I tend to move the diffuser a little bit more frequently. You don't have to do that. I've noticed that I do it when I rewatch my lives. I think it's a little bit habitual because I know that I can. As the hair gets more dry, it's slightly less fragile. If your hair is very prone to frizz, I would recommend not doing that until the hair is 100% dry. Some people like to wait until the hair is 100% dry before they break their cast. If your hair takes a really long time to dry and is not particularly prone to frizz, you might find it speeds up the dry time a little bit if you start to break the cast with the diffuser at like 98% dry. If your hair is very prone to frizz, you might not want to do that. other thing I like to make sure I'm doing is like getting these sections here and not only diffusing it all forward. You don't want to neglect the back of your head. That's good. Thank you. So I definitely find that so today I switched up the order of my products. I did the cream, then foam, then mousse, versus usually I do cream, then mousse, then foam. And my hair definitely stayed wet more easily. The mousse that I use is very moisturizing. Some mousses are very drying, but this is the Vito Curl. And I'll show you. The Vito Curl is like a soft defining mousse for volume and moisture for curls with bounce. I don't know if you can see it really, but anyways. And I definitely found when I was working with my hair, it stayed wet a lot more easily. And now that I'm drying it, I'm finding it's taking longer to dry than it usually does when I do the foam second. But I think the trade-off of having it stay wet more easily when I was working with it is maybe worth it. I also want to get the InnerSense I Create Finish hairspray because apparently that cuts your dry time just a little bit. And I also just really like, if you've ever worked with it, it adds a little bit of extra cast and hold. And just it's like a bodysuit for your hair. It just like holds everything together during the drying process to help prevent that extra little bit of frizz that you might sometimes get when you're diffusing your hair. It just gives you an extra little bit of cast. It's not like, it's a hairspray that's meant for curly hair. You apply it to your hair when it's wet. I really like it. I use it on a lot of my clients. I'm using the Lifen hair dryer. It's linked in my bio. Do I ever use an oil in my hair? I'm not like opposed to it, but no, like in my hair, I don't usually. I do sometimes with my clients. Especially for people whose hair tends to lose moisture very quickly to the environment, or on like very high humidity days. I'll use it to break the cast. On my hair, I'll be more likely to use like a smoothing balm or a smoothing cream to break the cast. I'm just very prone to frizz. My hair is weighed down very easily. Not that there aren't very lightweight oils. There are. Like I Create Shine by InnerSense, very lightweight oil. Can you tell I've really drank the Kool-Aid with InnerSense lately? Not that I don't. I love some of the Weed products too. I love Mela and Cara products too. Mela and Cara has a bunch of new products coming out. I cannot wait to find out what they are. you love the Olaplex oil? Totally. It's very nice, it's very lightweight, and it has bonding properties, so if you're a blonde or if you have damage in your hair. What did you do before the pixie diffusing? I was doing hover diffusing, where you just hover the diffuser around your hair, which creates less frizz, so it's a great way to start your diffusing process. Can you rewatch this live on YouTube? Yes, and you can also rewatch it on Instagram. How do you feel about Diva Curl? They have some awesome products. So like a quick rundown of Diva Curl. I don't, my salon doesn't carry their shampoos, so I don't know much about their shampoos. I do like their leave-in deep conditioners, their deep treatments. I like their gels. Some of our clients love their gels. Their gels are very, like the Ultra Defining Gel is very, very lightweight. I would call it a medium hold gel. So if you're looking for a very lightweight gel, I think it's very nice. It's not going to be, like, it would cocktail well with something like I Create Definition if you want something lightweight with stronger hold. You know what I mean? You'd want to mix those together in your hand first to make sure that they blend. I'm trying to think if I have done that cocktail. I don't know that I've done that myself. Yeah, a lot of my clients love, I use Ultra Defining Gel all the time in the salon. Wave Maker is one of their curl creams. Very nice curl cream, very lightweight, also very moisturizing, which it can be hard to find something that's very lightweight but also very moisturizing. So for my fine-haired girlies whose hair is dry, I love Wave Maker. I think it's a great product. Another Diva Curl product that is awesome is the Plumping Primer. It's a gelée, very, very lightweight. So it's a great base product. If you are someone who are like, you feel like every curl cream is too heavy for your hair, a plumping primer is a great product that you can put under your gel to smooth the hair. It's a great base for under your gel. It'll add moisture, it'll enhance the curl a little bit before you go in with your gel. Great product. Can be used for low porosity hair too, to help it start receiving moisture. So I used to be obsessed with them, then after the scandal I'm nervous. So a little bit about that, it was only one product. They only actually got into trouble with one product. I know you hear about something like that with a brand, it like tarnishes the entire brand, but it was only one product. Also, you look into that, there was not a single ingredient that was problematic. So it's interesting, they were held accountable, but when you look into it, there's not a single ingredient that they used that could have caused hair loss. So, when you look at those two factors, what actually happened is a low-poo shampoo is one of those products, and it was their low-poo shampoo that was the issue. A low-poo shampoo needs to be very carefully used. Okay, and a lot of people were using their low-poo shampoo as their only shampoo because they were doing the curly girl method. They heard that they shouldn't shampoo their hair anymore. They should only use a low-poo shampoo. So they just started using a low-poo shampoo as their only shampoo. And so their hair was, first of all, they weren't using it properly. And that's no hate to those people. What happened, it's a really complicated issue. There was a change in the company where it went from only being sold by salons that were trained in Diva Curl to being more widely sold by like anyone could sell Diva Curl, like Marshalls or whatever, anyone could sell Diva Curl. So there was, clients weren't getting educated anymore when they bought the product on how to use it. So that's not the client's fault. That is kind of, there is ownership. Look how curly my hair is today. That is ownership, you know, the salon, the Diva Curl has ownership on that. But a low-poo shampoo needs to be used Like it needs to be scrubbed in and scrubbed out because it's a cream-based shampoo. So if it's not scrubbed out, that cream will build up on your scalp. And it's good for everyone to know that about any cream-based shampoo, not just Diva Curl. If you're using a non-sudsing shampoo, it needs to be scrubbed in and then scrubbed out to make sure you get all of that out. Important to know that. The other thing is, y'all should all be clarifying, not only using a low poo shampoo. So, a lot of people were just using these low poo shampoos and they weren't scrubbing it in and then scrubbing it out. And then they weren't clarifying. And so then they were experiencing hair loss. And then I'm sure there was also people on top of that who maybe just had adverse reactions to the product, which that can happen. If you type in any brand on earth and hair loss, you're gonna get a hit. So I'm sure there's also just people who had adverse reactions to the product. So all that to say, did Diva Curl have some ownership in that? Yeah, I would say there was some ownership there because it is, you know, client education and how to use their products. However, were the products dangerous? No. Are the products dangerous today? No. Did they reformulate? They had to. Public pressure? They absolutely had to. But this is important for you to know if you are someone who wants to use low poo shampoos. This could happen to you with any low poo shampoo, not just Diva Curl. How often should you clarify or? You have thyroid issue and you lost 50% of your hair. I'm so sorry that happened. Hair loss is so frustrating. I have a family member who recently went through a lot of hair loss, and I know how, I haven't gone through it personally, so I don't personally know. But it's not fun. Yeah, you definitely want to talk to your doctor anytime you experience hair loss. It's more frequently caused by medical issues than by anything topical. It's not that it can't be caused by the products you're using, of course it can, but it's more, to your point, it's more frequently caused by something medical going on with you. Okay. So, look at the cast we've got going on. Look at how spirally my hair is today. Okay. We are going to try and wrap this live up in the next 5 minutes because I promised I was going to be fast today. And we are an hour and 5 minutes into this live. I'm going to try and not be a 90-minute live today. I'm going to try and show up at work and be like, I was an hour and 10 minutes doing my hair today. Okay. Look how spirally it is. Okay, so this is my cast. Nice strong cast. Let's see what the back looks like. Oh, the back looks good. Maybe this is my secret. Maybe I need to hover diffuse the back longer. Also, Marilyn was right, obviously. Marilyn is always right. Marilyn is my boss. Definitely, I create definition and then mousse. Definitely. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of, I like to use, instead of oil, I like to use a little bit of smooth ends, which is technically a split end mender, but I just love to use it to break my cast. If you start breaking your cast and you feel that anything is still damp, just go in and keep diffusing, but actually my hair is pretty dry today. I think I like got into telling that story and I really got it very dry. Okay, one little damp spot right here. Okay. Miss Ma'am. One second, where do you belong? The volume! Oh, for day one hair, this is very good volume for me. I love it! Okay. So usually once I'm done styling my hair, I'll just like go through like that and break up any like really juicy curls. So we were an hour and 10 minutes. I'm gonna hop off while I can still claim that this was a fast styling day. Okay, so the back is okay. I think tomorrow I'm gonna do a little refresh of the back. I'll show you the back. You know, it's fine for today, but there's a few little areas of definition that I'm like, it could be a little bit more spirally in that area. I'll break up that one really juicy curl that I'm happy with. So. Actually, here's what I'm gonna do. I can't help myself. Okay. The sections that were like almost brushed out looking, you know what I mean? I'm just gonna wet them and let them air dry. I think what happened was when I was doing the rake and shake method, I didn't make them small enough curl clumps, which was just me going fast. Usually I slow down and do the back really, really slowly, and I didn't do that this time, which, you know. The product is all already in there. I tuned in late. Can you say what you used and in what order? Yeah, I used the Mela and Kira Balayage Blowout Cream. Then I used the I Create Definition Foam by InnerSense. And then I used the Vital Curl Weedad Mousse. Okay. I had some like areas at the back that weren't as defined as I wanted, so I just kind of re-wet them. The product is already in there. I just wanted more individual definition, so I just kind of wet the sections and finger curled them, and I'm gonna let them air dry. Okay, that's it. I'll show you what it looks like at the back. It's wet, so you're not gonna really see, but I think it should be fine now once it air dries. I'm going to post this live on Instagram, and I'm going to post it on YouTube, so if you want to go back and re-watch it. At the beginning of this live, I kind of walked you through how to do a really fast routine if you want to. I didn't do it, but I did show you what I would do if I was not wanting to do the Rake and Shake method. And maybe one of these days I will actually do that on a live, but not when I'm going to the salon. Yeah. I love you all. An hour and 15 minutes. That's better than usual. We're working on this. I am going to try and get this down to a 1 hour live. That is my goal, to be able to every Wednesday do my hair in 1 hour. We are going to get there. I am working on it. We have improved. An hour and 15 minutes. That's not bad. Okay. If you want to book with me, you can send me a DM on either TikTok or Instagram, or of course you can go to the salon website and you can text the phone number at the salon website. I don't have online booking at this time. My name is Gal. So if you go and you try to book with me online, you're not going to find me on online booking. But if you're not sure and you don't want to DM me, of course you can just text the salon. It can be, we don't have a full-time receptionist, so it can be hard to get through just by calling. I recommend that you send a text. If we don't get back to you in the first 24 hours, typically the texting is being responded to between Wednesdays and Fridays because the salon is not open every day. So yeah, and the fastest way for me to get back to you is going to be by sending me a DM on TikTok or Instagram, because I am responding to those every single day. So if you want to book with me, that's the best way to get through. Otherwise, I love you all, and I will see you next Wednesday for another hair routine. And this is the road to a 1 hour every week hair routine. I'm working on it. We're working on this together. Okay, I love you guys. Bye.